So chapter 7, you talk about the SMART goals. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah, SMART goals is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, road-mapped, and time-based. A lot of people have different variations of that, but essentially that's my take on what SMART goals are, and I'll explain what each one means. Now that you have your vision, right, when we talked about vision in the first class, here you are and you would like to be here 5 to 7 years from now. But now, essentially what we're doing is we're taking our SMART goals and we're sort of chopping those up into more digestible, bite-sized pieces.
Okay.
So what you're doing now is you're saying, okay, if I want to go from here to here, specifically, this is what I'm going to do in the first year. Okay? And there's a logical sort of process that fits that. I mean, obviously, if you're here and you want to be a doctor here, right? You're going to go to, high school. You're going to go to med school. You're going to take the MCAT. Then you're going to go to, you're going to, intern, and then eventually you start your own practice and you become a doctor, right? It's the same thing if you want to be Dr. Dre, right? You start here. Maybe the most logical first step would be producing your own first record, maybe selling a certain number of quantities, etc.
Right. So this is where it gets very detailed and specific.
Yeah, it starts to break that down a little bit more. So we're here, what are we going to do in the first year, right? So it has to be very, very specific, so it can't be vague. It has to be measurable. In other words, there needs to be some sort of way to measure it. And there's a great quote by a guy named Brian Tracy that says, if you can measure it, you can manage it. And the idea behind that is simply, if at any point we can check to see how we're doing, it helps us to kind of, it's a measure, it's a quality control measure essentially.
Right.
So if I were going to the gym and let's just say my goal was to, lower body fat from 17% to 14%, after 2 weeks of training, I can measure it and say, is what we're doing working? And if it's not, we can immediately adjust rather than sitting around for 6 months only to find out that it didn't work. That makes no sense.
Totally.
So it's a quality control measure. The next thing is attainable. That's just basically asking, is this really doable? And the way you can find that out is by talking obviously with music business professionals. Is it doable to do this?
Okay.
The next thing is what's called roadmap. It's just simply mapping out sort of how you're going to get there. These are the tasks. If we want to be here, we want to do this, what are the tasks we need to kind of get there?
Okay. How is that different than the specifics?
Well, specific would be sort of the end goal. Like, so for example, I might say in the first year, we would like to release our 6-song debut recording titled Ray Music. Okay. And now the actual roadmap section of that is going to be, okay, month 1, record songs, month 2, mix and master, that kind of thing, right? And then finally, T is time-based, and that stands for time-based. That stands for usually a year. We usually break them up in a year or 6 months. So specific, measurable, attainable, roadmapped, and time-based. Very, very good tool to use. And next, if it's okay with you, we're going to talk about branding. So hang around for the next segment. We're going to talk about branding from the company and product standpoint. So thanks.